must say that when this contracting out of the basic condition of employment was done before Numsa was part of the bargaining council. We are now probably the second biggest union in this bargaining council. And we are a union that takes mandate from our members. And we're very pleased, which is why I'm saying unite us, don't divide us. We're very pleased that all unions to date have stand together, Satau, and we were together in those negotiations. We will be together this afternoon to advance the interest of workers, because employers have been getting their way in this sector. Because out of our disunity as unions, then they find a way of winning one union to their side to sign the agreement, and workers becomes the losers. And this time around, we stand together, and we're saying united we stand, divided we fall. We obviously, as I said, appreciate that this strike is really very bad for our communities, and which is why we are saying in the statement we appreciate the plight and the pain of our communities. And therefore, we're saying employers should come to the table this afternoon and be able to move, because to resolve any strike, it takes parties to move from their position. And when we met last week, we went on strike, we were at 12%, we moved to 10%, we braked at 9.5%, 9%. We demonstrated willingness to move. Employers have not moved an inch. What is on the table, which they expect us to sign, is 8.5%, 8%, which was not their offer. It was a mediator recommendation, which we didn't accept. And we said, listen, come up with 1%. We think if you were to do that, we can stand in front of our members in the light of a strike that is really bleeding our communities, to be able to persuade them to settle. On the IPPs, I have given you the things that should be making you worried.
Minimum wage. My understanding is that the 20 rand is a base with which the employers can start on, but they don't necessarily need to stick to the 20 rand. You have not given us what your ideal amount would be on that. The issue of tomorrow's strike also, did you say that, just in clarification, if you said that you are meeting with the employers, and have we considered, the position of the companies or the businesses in this case, the business confidence index, for instance, for the past couple of months, in fact, almost for a year, has been showing that, businesses have not been doing very, very well, which means that some of them, if they are forced to go on a higher wage, could cost the very workers that you're trying to protect their jobs on the other hand. So I just want to understand what the agreement with that is. And you also mentioned the issue of the 40,000 jobs that would be lost in the coal sector of the signing of the IPPs. Have we looked at how many jobs the renewables would be creating in turn with the signing of the 27 IPPs? Thank you.
Can you take that one?
Oh, okay, we'll get you Slim. And other questions?
I think on the renewables, there will obviously, during construction phase, there will be jobs. But I can tell you that this is high-tech. These will be hamburger jobs. These are not jobs that are going to be sustainable in the true sense of the word. And very few people would be employed. We have the view that nobody should fool us. And yes, 40,000 jobs would be lost. Those jobs are sustainable, and which is why we're saying, don't press a button to destroy a life of a worker in South Africa. Because every worker who's got a job supports 5 to 6 extended families. If you're looking at the statistic, which we checked at the beginning of the year, at the level of poverty, inequalities, we were talking about people who are in trouble, about 30.4 million South Africans in terms of states aid, who had no plate of food. And under those conditions, you will be expecting a government that is not driven by tenders and bids and undisclosed interest to rush into signing what is questionable in terms of stimulating economic growth and to create jobs. I mean, this government have adopted a conservative budget, but they are willing. These guys are not taking any risk. They are investing here because there are billions that are guaranteed that if they invest on this. And I think one other thing that is not being said about these IPPs is about the fact that what they put into the national grid is guaranteed as money that comes to them. But ESCOM cannot say the same. ESCOM, when it delivers that electricity into the public, people will not be able to pay. There will be electricity cuts. There are people who will steal electricity. And all those challenges are a burden that ESCOM is basically carrying. On the national minimum wage, we're basically saying when the people of this country met in Kliptown in 1955, it was not a small matter when they made the demand that there shall be a national minimum wage. There was an intention to destroy and to uproot apartheid colonial wage, which is South Africa's capitalism accumulation strategy, that the South African economy can only be built at the back of super exploitation of black and African labor as an accumulation of how South African capitalism thrive and build the economy. Now, what is a fair national minimum wage? We're saying sometimes we like to research. The workers have spoken. They died. They were massacred by the ANC government, demanding 12,500. That's what Marikana Matthias died for. We're saying this 20 rand is nothing less than spitting on their graves. We reject it with contempt it deserves. We're saying, as a start, this government, if it was serious, it will impose that 12,500. And secondly, it will actually force all South African companies to disclose their financials, how much money are they generating per annum, sector by sector, company by company. The economic conditions are tough. They are tough to all of us. They are tough to the working class. But open up the books, let's see how much are they generating as profit. At the back of that, we can then start a genuine debate about what is a fair national minimum wage. From where we're sitting, these companies, even under these stiff conditions, they are maximizing profit. They are continuing with super exploitation. And we reject that the ANC government can volunteer itself to supervise super exploitation of black and African labor. I think basically those were the question. Well, business is not going to stop to say things are bad. The index is the index, it must be analyzed. But I mean, the bottom line is that workers in this country are the producers of wealth. They are productive. We think that they deserve to be paid a living wage.
Okay. Lindile, you had a question?
Zolilwela, Izwela, Zolilwela, Izwela, Zolilwela, Izwela, Izwela me, Izwela me, Izwela me.